केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching the News Hour special edition. I'm Pratibha Chandran. Thanks for joining us this Sunday evening. Debate number one is what's going to happen tomorrow. It's the monsoon session, and yes, we've been seeing multiple stormy sessions. Yes, there will be important bills that will be brought up, and yes, the opposition is also going to raise a lot of issues. But this monsoon session is going to be unlike any parliament session, because this is going to be a test not just for the opposition but for the government as well. Remember, a lot has changed over the last few months from the previous session up to now, because the TMC has been defeated in West Bengal, and this is perhaps for the first time in decades together that the DMK is not even going to be seated next to the Congress party. DMK unwilling to even be seen with the Congress party. So that's how fractured the opposition really is. But amid all of this, tomorrow's headlines are also going to be, of course, about the Parliament Chalo March that is being organized by the Cockroach Janata Party. Now, Sonam Wangchuk has been taken from Jantar Mantar. He has been taken to hospital. He is currently in the hospital. A lot of the opposition leaders are also talking about how the government should speak about Sonam Wangchuk. So what is really going to be in the parliament? What are we going to see? And has this test by the CJP come as a shot in the arm for the opposition that has been fractured? It has been fractured completely on one side, if that's the story of the opposition. On the other side, what about the NDA? The number game inside the parliament has also changed very dramatically in favor of the NDA. The Speaker, Om Birla, has approved the merger of the 6 UBT Sena MPs with Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena taking their strength in the Lok Sabha to 13. 20 of the TMC rebel MPs have also been granted a separate seating following the demand for recognition as a separate group. And with this move, the NDA's push for a two-thirds majority has gained a lot of momentum. This means, unlike the previous parliament session where the NDA could not go ahead with multiple bills, this time around it may be able to go through with two-thirds majority. The opposition is fractured, and many from the opposition have in fact also hinted at giving an issue-based support to the NDA. So this story, is it really just about the parliament, or is it really going to be a battle or a test for the NDA versus the India bloc? Listen in to what the opposition leaders have been saying on what the key issues will be.
The so-called NCPI, which is an unrecognized party, the strength of the All India Trinamool Congress in the list provided by the tail office is shown to be 28 members. These so-called rebel 20 MPs, their merger has not been approved by the Speaker. The 20 disqualification petitions are still pending. After the 91st Amendment, there is no room for a separate bloc. So on what grounds did the Parliamentary Affairs Minister extend an invitation to these 20 rebel MPs, and how are they attending this meeting? We have registered our strong protest and walked out as a symbol of our protest.
मैं एक चीज को सोनम वांगचुक क्या कर रहे थे, जंतर मंतर प्रदर्शन का स्थल है, वहां वो अनशन कर रहे थे जो गांधी जी सिखा रहे हैं, अहिंसा। कहीं हिंसा नहीं कर रहे थे, तो एक अहिंसा में लिप्त एक सत्याग्रही को जैसे अंग्रेज उठा के ले जाते थे, वैसे भाजपा उठा के ले गई। उनका भी चिराग गुल हुआ था, इनका भी चिराग गुल होगा।
देखिए, ये लोकतंत्र का हनन है। संविधान को लोगों ने कुचला है। आपने देखा, संविधान में संवैधानिक अधिकार है विरोध करने का, चाहे जो भी लोग हों। सोनम वांगचुक एक कोई मतलब आम आदमी नहीं है, बहुत सारा अवार्ड लिया हुआ व्यक्ति है, वो विद्वान व्यक्ति है, उसको रिस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए सरकार को। एक सरकार के एक भी लोग नहीं गए मिलने, एक भी लोग पूछने नहीं गए। हमने तो देखा जिस दरिंदगी से ये पुलिस वालों ने गड़बड़ी किया है क्या क्या गाली पकड़ दे करके उस व्यक्ति को जो मरने मतलब भूखे प्यासे जो अनशन पर बैठा हो और उस व्यक्ति को उठा करके कैसे लोग ले जा रहे हैं घसी करके, मतलब मजाक है।
So, is this issue going to be uniting the opposition party? Because it's clear that it has been fractured on multiple other fronts. Let's open this up, talk about what the monsoon session is going to be all about. Joining us on the broadcast is Sanju Verma, BJP National spokesperson. We have Mahesh Chavan, NCP SP spokesperson, Faizan Kidwai, the national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, and we also have TKS Engovan, DMK spokesperson, as well as Nikhil Jain, political analyst on the broadcast with us. Thank you all and a very good evening to you. Firstly, Nikhil Jain, what is the biggest issue going to be? Because some within the TMC are talking about how this is about the fracturing of the parties, how parties have been broken and that is unconstitutional. Some say that we must discuss what happened with Sonam Wangchuk. Some others say are accusing each other. In fact, going to even say that the DMK seems to be taking a soft stance on delimitation. What is tomorrow, the monsoon session, actually going to be about as far as the opposition standpoint is concerned?
Pratibha, the monsoon session tomorrow and for all the remaining days is going to be about the people of India. No longer is this government able to hegemonize the narrative in the country. No longer are they able to get a free pass from the people of India. Sonam Wangchuk is protesting, NSUI is protesting, IYC is protesting. People are tired of the paper leaks. Over 100 paper leaks in the past 10 years. Tens and hundreds of students are committing suicide. But yet the education minister is busy tweeting BJP political posts. The prime minister is busy not asking accountability from the education minister. The monsoon session tomorrow would also be about the legitimate rights of the southern states and other states which have done better population control so that the government cannot bulldoze a constitution amendment in the form of a delimitation bill, whatever you may want to call it this time around, women reservation bill, Nari Shakti Abhinandan Adhiniyam, this, that, I don't know, I don't care. And the opposition isn't going to care either for the simple reason the government does not have the numbers for a delimitation bill. And lastly, Sonam Wangchuk is not in hospital. He is in illegal detention. His family is not being allowed to meet. He is not being allowed to shift to a hospital of his choice. He's being force-fed, and that all of it is being done without any order of detention, imprisonment, conviction, or any due process.
But is the opposition united on these issues? That's going to be the biggest talking point. Is the opposition united on this when you speak about Sonam Wangchuk as well? Okay, over the last few days, you had some of the opposition leaders go, but it looked like when the Congress party was having a flip-flop on whether it should extend its support or not. And now suddenly you've jumped to the bandwagon as tomorrow the CJP decides to have a parliament chalo protest.
Not really, Pratibha. So the Congress party and many other opposition parties may not be in direct support to the Cockroach Janata Party, but every single opposition party, including the Congress and the Samajwadi Party, stand with the right of Sonam Wangchuk and other people in this country to go on a hunger strike or to protest against the follies of this government. The reason that the Congress party has extended its support is because the government's, intentions were very clear that they are going to use brute force, they are going to bulldoze this protest out, they are going to kidnap or abduct or detain or arrest Sonam Wangchuk, and that is essentially what the government has done. Friday onwards, Thursday, Friday onwards, you've seen how different opposition leaders have started going to Jantar Mantar where Mr. Wangchuk was protesting. And Saturday itself, the government picks him up. And what inhumane and crass manner of picking up somebody. You did not even have the courage to come arrest him with a court warrant or some sort of detention order. You had to bring in some white sheets. You had to roll the guy in. You had to throw him off barricades. God knows what is happening in this country. I really don't understand.
Okay, all right. We'll come to the other issues, delimitation as well, where the DMK comes in, whether there is a divide or not. We'll come to all of that. I want to bring in Sanju Verma on the allegations that are being made, and maybe, a lot of questions have been asked on the timing of Sonam Wangchuk being taken to the hospital. Was the government worried because you're seeing a lot of support coming in, the opposition leaders all uniting in support of Sonam Wangchuk?
Pratibha, let me make one thing very clear. To the darbaris of the Congress ecosystem, to the official spokespersons and the acolytes of Rahul Gandhi. Under Article 75 of the Indian Constitution, Prime Minister is mandated to decide who will be a part of his cabinet, who he chooses to dismiss, who he chooses to induct. We don't need lecture from Nikhil Jain or anybody from the Darbari cabal. Point number one. Point number two. Delhi High Court said that the government needs to do what it should, what it can to ensure that Sonam Wangchuk's life is not put to further risk. So if the government decided to shift him to Safdarjung Hospital, I think nobody should be having any problem. Problem ye hai that the wind from their sails has been completely taken out. The rug has been taken off from under the feet of the opposition. They were thinking कि चलो ये hunger strike चलते रहे, सोनम वांगचुक को कुछ हो जाए तो फिर मोदी सरकार को गुनहगार ठहरा सकते हैं. बट क्योंकि इनके मंसूबों पर पानी फेर दिया गया, the entire Darbari cabal is rattled to the core and we are loving it. Point number 4. Yes, right to protest is absolutely a legal right of any citizen. You have to dissent if you want to. But there is a difference between dissent, D-I-S-S-E-N-T, and dissent, D-E-S-C-E-N-T. What was happening at that protest was not D-I-S-S-E-N-T. It was D-E-S-C-E-N-T. People are stuffing themselves. I heard you. Wait for your turn. People at the protest stuffing themselves with chole bhature, bread pakoras, cold coffee, ice cream, vada pav. There are some people who were dancing on the stage apparently to entertain Sonam Wangchuk. और ये दुहाई देते हैं कि हमें सोनम वांगचुक की तबीयत की चिंता थी इसीलिए वो अनशन करे थे और बाकी सारे के सारे लोग स्टेज पर बैठकर ठहाके लगा रहे थे.
But Sanu Verma, there are many from the opposition who have also said that even if the court said that every life is precious, why not engage with him? He had been protesting for 20 days. Why did the government not speak to him?
You know, let's get one thing very clear. Whether the government chooses to engage in a dialogue or not, that is the prerogative of the government. And let me say one thing very clearly. We know that Sonam Wangchuk, earlier, what his stand on Ladakh has been. Has it been constitutional? Has it been legal? Has it been in line with the law of the land? Has it been in line with legal jurisprudence? The answer to all these questions is no. So please don't try and glorify Sonam Wangchuk. And my final point, Pratibha, is simply this. If the opposition tomorrow wants to march to parliament, it's well and good. Should I say what I say always in a zillion debates? The opposition has no common minimum program or political agenda. They are only united by the visceral hatred for Narendra Modi. And in 20 seconds, do you remember, Pratibha, what happened on the 6th of June, 2026? Barely a few weeks back, Mallikarjun Kharge called an all-party meeting at his residence of the so-called India Alliance, Alliance. Akhilesh Yadav missing, Uddhav Thackeray missing, DMK's MK Stalin missing, TVK not invited. तो opposition के खुद के लोग कांग्रेस के साथ नहीं है और राहुल गांधी takes pride in the fact that he is leader of the opposition. He is not leader of the opposition. He only speaks for the Congress, and that too congressmen don't stick to him because आधा तो राहुल गांधी विदेश में घूमने फिरने और मौज मस्ती करने में ज्यादा टाइम बिताते हैं. देश के अंदर में रहकर कोई कंस्ट्रक्टिव काम तो आज तक उन्होंने किया नहीं है. 20 दिनों तक गायब थे और अब आकर कहते हैं आई स्टैंड विद द सीजेपी, आई स्टैंड विद सोनम वांगचुक. इतनी हिपोक्रेसी दरबारी लाते कहां से है जरा बताइए.
Okay, let's let Nikhil Jain respond, because on the issue of Sonam Wangchuk, even the court today has said that the government was well within its right to actually move him from Jantar Mantar to the hospital.
See, the court today, High Court has said something. I can't comment on that, but I'm sure history books would one day comment on what's going in the name of law in this country, number one. Number two, I don't understand the argument of the BJP spokesperson. वो छोले भटूरे खा रहे हैं, वो नाच रहे हैं, राहुल गांधी बाहर घूमने जा रहे हैं. मतलब, I don't want to be sexist here, but growing up, I heard a term, कुछ आंटियां होती हैं वो खाट पे बैठ के ना बस सब पे ताने मारती रहती हैं. संजू वर्मा is sounding like that auntie, and I don't mean to be sexist. If you were a man, I would have said the same thing. Now, I really don't understand what's this level of argument. The question is being asked that there is a man who has been on a hunger strike asking for accountability, and the answer from the ruling party national spokesperson is that, oh, it is the prerogative of the government. They will decide who to fire and who to keep in the ministry, and they will decide when to talk and when not to talk. I think Sanju Verma is forgetting the fact, Madam, this is not an absolute monarchy. This is a democracy. Leaders, ministers listen to the people. Jawaharlal Nehru did, Indira Gandhi did, Atal Bihari Vajpayee did, Manmohan Singh did, Narasimha Rao did. Every single prime minister across party lines did that. It will not make Narendra Modi any of a lesser man. And let me remind you his keywords, since you also talk about Chola Bhatura. आलोचना में ही लोकतंत्र जिंदा रहता है जी. आलोचना से ही लोकतंत्र जिंदा रहता
Sanju
है.
Verma is responding.
When will you understand that?
यू प्रतिभा, मुझे कोई आंटी बोले, चाची बोले, दादी बोले, अम्मी बोले, मुझे कोई एतराज नहीं है. बट आई वांट टू टेल वन थिंग. निखिल जैन हैज लोअर इंटेलिजेंस देन द नंबर ऑफ हेयर ऑन ए बॉल्ड हेड. इसलिए यहाँ बैठकर बकवास मत करिए.
Okay, let's not get down to personal attacks, Nikhil Jain and Sanju Verma. Let's keep it to let's keep it to what the issue is. No personal attacks. Let's talk about what the issue is. Unfortunately, this is what we see in the parliament as well, time and again. Such talks going on in the parliament, we see a complete washout. We see that happen time and again. The opposition says we want debate on certain issues. The government says we are ready to talk, but finally it's the taxpayer money that goes down the drain. Let's not make the debate into
no
the same.
substance in the argument.
Okay, let's talk about what the key issues are. Okay, all right. You're saying that the opposition is united. All right, let's move on from that. No personal remarks, please. But let's talk about whether the opposition is actually united on that. And I want to bring in Mr. DKS Venugopal on this, because the DMK has made it clear that it is not even willing to sit with the Congress party. It does not want to be seen with the Congress party. What is the biggest issue for you in the parliament session? Because there have been indications that you are willing to give your support to the delimitation bill with some, terms and conditions attached.
See, the thing is that we are opposed to it. Is not a question of Congress or other parties. We are opposed to the moves of the ruling party. As an opposition party, we have to object to the ruling party's activities which are anti-people, anti-national and undemocratic. So in those things we will give our voice. If other parties also join us, or they also take the same stand as we do, that is the parliamentary system. So we are against ruling parties' wrongs. Even the delimitation, last time what had happened was, during last delimitation there was one thing, that the number of seats in every state will be pegged, and delimitation of constituencies based on the local population will be made. But this time they want to increase the number. That is the problem. What we feel is that the southern state will be deprived of their rights. With the 850 seats as they plan, 170 seats only will be given to the southern state, all the four southern states.
In fact, we have indications that, this clarification has been given by the centre and the BJP on multiple occasions. But you're saying that as far as the concerns of the southern states are looked at, you will maybe give support, especially to the women's reservation bill. That has been said by the DMK, an official position. Mr. Faizan Kidwai, where does the Samajwadi Party stand on this? Because Samajwadi Party, on the delimitation, there are some indications that there could be a possibility that you may abstain from vote.
Not at all, madam. See, as far as the strategy is concerned, it will be decided by tomorrow. And of course, it will be out in the open. But let me respond to Madam Sanju Verma, because I have been on debates with her a couple of times, and every time a question is posted to the government, she starts abusing. She says the Baris have no right to question Narendra Modi. Madam, it was your government when you were in the opposition, right from Sushma Swaraj to Mr. Jaitley and zillion other BJP leaders who would often ask for resignation of the Honorable Prime Minister at that time, Manmohan Singh. But nobody called you Darbari, because we believe in democracy. We believe in a democratic setup. And very, very rightly pointed out by Nikhil, ये democracy है. यहाँ पे डिक्टेटरशिप नहीं चलती. Maybe in your head dictatorship is going on, but still, if you want to talk about some darbaris, let me tell you that there's an individual self-obsessed, an extremely arrogant man called Mr. Narendra Modi. He shows his 56 inch and his power when it comes to innocent citizens who are asking for accountability. But the gentleman becomes a darbari when he sees real power in the form of Donald Trump, bows down in front of him, happily surrenders India's strategic autonomy. That's the reason India at large is suffering. See, Samajwadi Party has constantly been talking about the problems of price rise, the paper leaks, ethanol blending policies, vote chori that is happening through SIR. Now, it's not only the opposition party, I'm sure you're aware. The United Nations Special Rapporteur has come up and expressed concerns about how legitimate voters have been disenfranchised through SIR, especially minorities, and then especially within minorities, Muslims. We actually are concerned for what is happening to Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, this illegal detention, why his wife was not allowed to meet him earlier, why the doctors who were looking after the health of Mr. Wangchuk earlier, why are they not allowed to meet Mr. Wangchuk, why isn't he allowed to be shifted to a private hospital? This is his right. He has all the right to go to whichever hospital he wants. Is there some sinister plan this government is making of eliminating Mr. Wangchuk? This is a very important thing you should keep in mind, because
Mr.
this government...
the government has also given its side on what the court has said and why he was taken to the hospital. But let me allow Sanju Verma to respond to that.
You know, let me say one thing very respectfully to Faizan Kidwai. Darbari word is not an abuse. Is he a Darbari? Yes. Is Nikhil Jain a Darbari? Yes. Bald-headed one at that. But let me come to the
Would you
booth.
call yourself Darbari, madam? Madam, by the same
Sanju ji, I
yardstick,
request you to not make any personal comments. Let's keep our focus on the debate.
Nikhil Jain was making personal comments at me. Stop
Okay.
taking
Acting like a
Now
middle
let me-
school student.
Okay. All right. Okay, Nikhil. I'll request you, let's keep the personal comments aside. Let's keep it issue-based. Yes, Sanju, respond.
Let me say one thing very clearly on delimitation. What Amit Shah ji has said on the floor of the parliament, and I repeat very quickly in 20 seconds, Pratibha. If we go through with delimitation, the share of Karnataka will rise from 28 seats to 42 seats. The share of Andhra Pradesh from 25 to 38. The share of Telangana from 17 to 26. That of Tamil Nadu from 39 to 59. And Kerala from 20 to 30. And the overall share in terms of percentage will go up from 23.76 to 23.90. And total number of seats will go up for southern states from 129 to 195. दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी मैंने यहाँ कर दिया है through data that what the darbaris on your show are saying, that is
Not in the
over
bill.
homework.
Absolute lie.
The delimitation
Sanju Verma,
bill
please point
is
out the
based
provision
on
in the bill that
proportional
gives you this number.
representation.
Any schedule, any annexure, any provision,
Delimitation
anything in the bill that gives you this number.
representation. Can I finish, Pratibha? I did not heckle anyone.
Yes, go on.
I repeat, the delimitation bill is one, based on proportional representation. Two, it is linked to women's reservation bill, where the number of seats for women will go up to 281. Point number three, which nobody is talking of. ये राहुल गांधी, अखिलेश यादव, कहते हैं हम दलितों के साथ खड़े हैं. दलितों के साथ खड़े हैं तो delimitation bill को support करिए, because the number of seats, reserved seats for Dalits will go up from 84 to 137, and that for scheduled tribe will go up from 47 to 73. Support delimitation if you support
Okay,
Dalits.
Faizan Kidwai.
Where is she stating all of that on? What provision of the bill, what schedule, what annexure gives that? That is just bogus WhatsApp University Gyan that she's pilifying on your show.
Okay. Pratibha, may I just respond?
Let me take a word from Samajwadi Party and then we can have Sanju Verma respond.
Okay. Let me destroy this falsehood of Bharatiya Janata Party. There is a section, first of all, there is no commitment on the part of the government, neither the bill says that the distribution will not adversely affect the sub-states. On the contrary, there is a section 8 which clearly says the delimitation officer will decide number of seats on the basis of population. So on the basis of population of this delimitation is happening, that too using an ancient census of 2011. First of all, do a proper new census, then do a caste census so that women from PDA community can get their rights. And just a second, Pratibha, when the bill was women reservation bill already passed unanimously, and all the opposition parties have supported. We say give the reservation right now. You know why they aren't doing it? Because if they do, 100 male MPs of Bharatiya Janata Party will have to vacate their seats. And this is a patriarchal organization.
On the mention of the seat for each of the states not being actually mentioned in the states, just a verbal assurance that has come in from the BJP, Sanju Verma, and also the opposition asking right from the beginning on why it is tied to the women's reservation bill.
You know, first and foremost, why is it tied to the women's reservation bill? Because the 106th constitutional amendment had Article 334A and 243D, which clearly say that women's reservation can be increased whether by 10%, 20, 30, 33, 40, only after delimitation is done. तो अब सवाल उठता है delimitation के लिए, why did you wait till 2026? Because the 42nd constitutional amendment and the 44th constitutional amendment had put a freeze on delimitation till the year 2026. And my final point, Faizan Khetri raised a pertinent point. So my response to him is only this. Is population one of the criteria? Yes. Is demographic composition also a criteria? Yes. How states have managed their budget deficits? That's the third criteria. Have states been fiscally prudent? That's the fourth criteria. And finally, I'll give an example. What is the population of Kerala? 3.5 crore. How many seats does Kerala send to the parliament? 20. If we go by Kerala's yardstick, then Uttar Pradesh with a 25 crore population should actually be having at least 137 MPs. कितने हैं उत्तर प्रदेश में? 80 MPs हैं. So northern states or central states have actually not benefited. They have lost out.
Okay, you have not managed to convince Nikhil Jain or Faizan Kidwai on this. But I want to very quickly bring in Mr. Mahesh Chavan as well on this, because it is believed that because the NDA didn't have the numbers and the parliament tomorrow is going to look very different from the parliament we saw even in the last session. Is the NDA, and is this what the opposition believes, that the NDA is going to be bulldozing through the opposition parties as well to push its bill? Because in the previous session, the NDA, the numbers obviously solved what the government's plan was, which is why we're seeing a completely fractured opposition this time around in the parliament.
Yeah, Pratibha, that's a very nice question. Okay, sorry. It's for him.
Yes, Mr. Chavan.
See, Pratibha, we stand united with the India Alliance, first of all. Secondly, regarding the delimitation bill, we will declare our stance only after the draft is made available, you know. As we have said it repeatedly, that what we are looking at is if the bill has 50% uniform expansion of Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha seats across the states, then we will consider, we'll try and discuss this with our alliance parties. We need to know how it would be implemented. We need to know what is the process. We need to know what is the format, whether it is in the country's interest or not. All these factors has to be tested. And secondly, it has to be unlinked from the women's reservation bill so that it can be implemented immediately. But the government is not talking about it. As someone said just now, the census should be carried out first and then we should talk about delimitation. But here...
No, I just want to ask you, Mr. Mahesh Chavan, is your support to the India bloc going to be issue-based, or are you saying that your support lies with the India bloc entirely? Because even in Maharashtra, we've seen a lot of changes in the political parties, in the political allegiances.
No, as far as our party is concerned, we stand firm with the India bloc. So whatever is discussed or consulted with India bloc, we will stand by it.
Okay. So let me...
basically...
Okay, let me ask you, TKS Elangovan. Is it the same for you? Because the DMK has said it does not want to be a part of the India bloc. It has said very clearly that as long as Congress party is part of any bloc, the DMK does not want to be part of it.
No, that is not the question whether we are part of India bloc or not. We are opposed to BJP's certain moves which are anti-people, which we feel is anti-people or undemocratic. Those things we will stand. They will also oppose. They have to oppose. All opposition parties will oppose. As an opposition party, we will work there along with other parties. We may not be in that bloc, but we cannot support BJP if they are against the interest of the people. That's all.
Okay, all right. Sanju Verma?
You know, Pratibha, we've spent so much time on delimitation. Let's understand that there are two very important bills that I want to draw the attention of your audience to. One is the Vande Mataram related bill. We are making an amendment to the Prevention of Insult to National Honors Act 1971 by saying that national song should also be sung with all 6 stanzas, not just 2 stanzas or 6 stanzas. गाने में कितना वक्त लगता है? 3 minutes 10 seconds. And the second very important bill which has actually rattled Rahul Gandhi and Darbaris, that is the FCRA amendment bill.
Yes.
And why is that? Because we are saying in the new FCRA amendment, if an NGO fails to comply with the FCRA norms, there will be a designated authority which can take over and dispose of the assets of the so-called NGO. And why they are rattled is also for another reason. Because the Modi government has said that you cannot spend more than 20% of the funds that you have raised from foreign sources for administrative expenses. So the admin expenses related threshold has been set at 20%. And I think that is what has rattled the ecosystem, because पहले होता था कुछ भी कहीं पर भी spend करके कहते थे ये तो admin expense है. 40% of the funds were raised and spent on admin expenses and nobody raised a hue and cry. But now we are saying we will crack the whip, because be it a Greenpeace, be it Soros Foundation, be it Rockefeller Foundation, be it Ford Foundation, be it Open Society Foundation, be it Amnesty International, we will not allow them to get away.
Greater accountability and transparency, that's what this bill is for. So why is the opposition opposing it, Nikhil Jain?
She talks about Soros Foundation. She forgets that Hardeep Singh Puri's daughter manages over $200 million for George Soros. She talks about the Ford Foundation. She forgets to tell you that Jai Shankar, the foreign minister of the country, his son works with the Ford Foundation. She talks about organizations, NGOs receiving foreign money and then spending them in ways that they don't tell the government about. I would also like to ask her, is this law also going to apply to the RSS or not? Because nobody really knows if the RSS is an NGO or is it a company or is it an association of persons or whatever it is. Lastly, nobody is opposing things because we are scared of something wrong that will happen. It is simply the fact that the BJP spokesperson on your show is saying there would be a designated authority to seize everything. What designated authority are we talking about? Are we talking about the ED, which keeps getting rebuked by the Supreme Court every now and then for acting and playing very politically? Are we talking about the BJP and the BJP is going to take over all the NGOs operating in this country? And also it's quite funny to me that Sanju Verma, who's not a lawyer, starts all her arguments with Article 75 says this, Article 326 says this. She doesn't even know the simple fact that it's not a constitutional amendment, it's a constitution amendment.
Is there a problem with greater accountability if funds are being looked at and there is a greater scrutiny of the funds? Should there be a problem?
No, there should not be a problem, but the questions will always be asked. Will that scrutiny also apply to the RSS? Would it be done in a manner like ED does all its other political cases? And what is interesting here is that Sanju Verma has very cleverly stirred away the discussion from delimitation because she had no answers to that. She's been blabbering about a bunch of facts on your show. She's not been able to tell us any provision by which she is saying the things that she's saying, because fact of the matter is the bill does not have those provisions. In fact, what she said down your show is self-contradictory, because earlier she says every state seat will increase 50%, and then she goes on to say, no, look at the population of Uttar Pradesh and look at the population of Kerala. The Uttar Pradesh should have more seats proportionally because it has a greater population, which is an argument to be made. But then how can each state have just a 50% increase?
Okay, so the bill is going to be tabled in the parliament, and the government has mentioned in business, which is why Sanju brought it up. Sanju wants to respond. Yes, go on.
You know, first and foremost, I don't need to be a lawyer. I have enough common sense to rebut the lies of a person who's a Rahul Gandhi acolyte but is scared to even call himself a Congress. He sits on debates masquerading as a political analyst, and he's just a clerical lawyer or a clerk. He's not even a full-fledged lawyer. अभी बात करते हैं एस जयशंकर
all right.
Justice of India to make case briefs for a sitting Supreme Court judge.
Okay.
Law clerk to a Supreme Court judge does not mean a clerical job.
Okay, all right.
Had you actually opened your eyes and ears at the
all right.
Oxford University you supposedly went to, you would have known what a judicial kakshep with a constitutional court judge is. Can you stop
Sanju
making
Verma,
personal
yet
remarks?
again, yet again, I will have to make that appeal. Don't make these personal comments.
No substance in your argument.
Okay, let's
you
not
cannot read the law.
Okay, let's not make these personal comments. This is my appeal, Nikhil and Sanju Verma as well. Not again. We can't have the debate stoop to these personal laws yet again. We've seen that happen multiple times. Let's stick to the facts. I'm sure you can take on the arguments of Nikhil Jain without having to bring in the personal comments.
And that too incorrect.
Pratibha, let me make one thing very clear. Nikhil Jain lied on your show that S. Jayashankar's son, Dhruva Jayashankar, works with the Ford Foundation. That's a lie. Dhruva Jayashankar works with Observer Research Foundation, America, based in Washington, D.C., which is a public policy think tank. Before the ORF, he was working for Brookings India. Dhruva Jayashankar has never worked for Ford Foundation. Nikhil Jain is a rabid liar. He needs to apologize for lying about S. Jayashankar's son openly on national television. He's never worked for the Ford Foundation. He works for ORF America. Nikhil Jain is a rabid liar.
Okay.
Will you rebut him?
Okay, all
Will
right.
you ask him to apologize? Will you ask Nikhil
Okay,
Jain to
well, you've
apologize?
issued that clarification.
I think Sanju is right, and I can apologize for it because
Yes.
I think I was wrong. I think it is Mr. Doval's son who works with the Ford Foundation, but I'll put a clarificatory post on Twitter. I don't intend to spread any falsehoods. But will Sanju Verma apologize for giving the wrong figures that the bill does not support? I will apologize for my mistake. I'm sorry. I don't think Mr. Jayashankar's son is associated with Ford
Okay,
Foundation.
so the apology
Mr. Doval's
given-
son is, but I'll put
Okay,
out a
that's-
clarification on Twitter with the right. But
You
we apologize for your falsehood.
Okay, all right. All right.
बोलना बंद करो और बदतमीजी करना बंद करो.
Okay, all right, Sanju, we come to a close of this discussion, and I want to close with you on what can be expected tomorrow, what the government is going to be worried about or thinking about, because the government has also given an appeal to the opposition that we are ready for any debate, but ensure the parliament functions. Are you expecting that the opposition will be united and we will see good debates in the parliament, or is it going to be yet again the same strategy from the opposition? What's expected?
You know, Pratibha, I think one very interesting thing about Indian democracy is that apart from question hour, we also have zero hour. I think zero hour is a boon for the opposition because they can raise questions in the House spontaneously without giving a 10-day notice period, which is what you have to do if you have to raise a mudda while the question hour. So I think the opposition should use zero hour to put forth its concerns. And as far as the BJP is concerned, I will just say this. You may call me, as being arrogant. I never thought in my lifetime Article 370 will be abrogated. Narendra Modi or Amit Shah ne karke dikha diya. I never thought in my lifetime the CAA amendment will happen. Narendra Modi or Amit Shah ne karke dikha diya. And last but not the least,
Okay.
I never thought in my lifetime the revocation of instant triple talaq will happen. And the Modi government did that by having a bill to that effect, which was passed with a brute majority. Modi और अमित शाह ने बार-बार वो करके दिखाया है जो ऑपोजिशन की सोच से भी बाहर है. So will we ensure that there is a consensus? Yes. But ताली दो हाथ से बजती है. The government will walk extra mile. The opposition should also take 4 steps forward rather than 10 steps backward.
Okay, all right. Faizan wants to respond, but unfortunately we're running out of time because we need to talk about another battle as well that perhaps looks even more bitter than this. It's going to play out in just a few hours from now. We're talking about the FIFA World Cup. So we'll have to leave this Parliament discussion, and of course we'll reconnect again because Parliament session is going to begin tomorrow. Let's see what happens. A lot of drama expected. We're thanking our viewers and all our guests for joining us on the broadcast on this debate on the Parliament.